tonight?
We can absolutely promise you a show tonight without any rooks, mauls or scrums. Just a full 90 minutes of the round ball stuff. A goal is a goal, a penalty, unless you're Eden Hazard in the Champions League in midweek, who got a little bit confused, I think, about which sport he was playing. And
Adam Virgo's here to pick through the very best of the highlights, and we're going to start with Middlesbrough, whose odds to win the Sky Bet Championship have shortened dramatically this week because victory over Brentford on Tuesday was their third in a row.
Yes, Christian Stuani scored twice. These two took him to 7 for the season already, 3 of them in the league.
And that means that Borough's odds have shortened to a miserly 2-1 to win the title. Hull and Brighton are next in line. They're further out at 7s. So, how are the hot favourites responding? Well, today they were at Nottingham Forest. And so too were your commentators, Andy Hinchcliffe and Bill Leslie.
Energetic Nugent, no, not really enough on that one. Boris de Vries comes out to the rescue, he's missed it, Adoma. Kelvin Wilson back there. The Forest very nearly the architects of their own downfall there.
I'm just wondering, did Boris de Vries handle the ball outside the penalty area? The referee, Lee Mason, right on the spot, seemed to dive to me beyond the edge of the penalty area.
Friend whips it in, Adoma tries the flick. De Vries misses that one. And David Nugent has the goal for Middlesbrough inside 2 minutes.
George Friend getting forward from left back and just whips the ball in. Sloppy defensively, they're standing off Forest, you can't do that. Adoma, you've got to be tighter than that to him, they could clear this.
Good lead by O'Grady, here's Oliveira.
Well, that's the type of position he's going to try and take up when the ball is flicked on. He's going to maybe arrive a little bit late. This is difficult, so he's back to goal. He's going to take the shot on. He's a centre forward, he's a striker. He's not going to think about laying it off.
Grimsby will take their first corner here. Oh, and they've done it in some style. Cracking finish from Matt Mills.
Well, this is as cool and composed finish as you'll see from any centre forward. And what he does well here, he doesn't worry about maybe there's going to be a flick on the ball, it's not going to arrive at his feet. He adjusts his body, he gets himself set. If the ball does arrive at his feet, he's set up to score. No one's stayed with him, no one's tracked him. It's terrible defensive work from Middlesbrough, really poor.
Here comes Clayton now. Stuart Downing, he's in here. Downing on his 500th appearance is denied by Boris de Vries.
Oh, it's brilliant play from Downing, a great counter-attack, but wonderful goalkeeping, the timing. He just stayed on his feet as long as he could, de Vries, brilliant.
Downing trying to help it on to Nugent. Good save, Adoma! And de Vries there to block again. Danger's not clear yet. Stuani looking lively.
Yeah, it's brilliant from de Vries. Goalkeepers work so hard on getting their angles right, and that's why he makes the first save. Onside, definitely. That's all about his angles. Then it's about quick reactions, getting up onto your feet again and getting yourself into a good goalkeeping position.
To Clayton. Once misses it, Wilson does, and it's loose, and it's attacked by Daniel Ayala. The former Nottingham Forest player gets Middlesbrough back into the lead.
Whether you're centre forward or a centre half, just stay on your toes because things might happen. Decent ball in from Clayton, but this header from Kelvin Wilson, he just doesn't get his bearings right. And Ayala is first to react. There's a lot of red shirts just standing still, watching, waiting maybe for de Vries to come off his line. Ayala reacts and gets his rewards.
Forest found a way back pretty quickly. First time they found themselves behind. Can they do it again through Lehigh? Not a bad effort at all.
It's a wonderful strike with his weaker foot from Lehigh. It's a fairly comfortable save, a save the keeper should make.
Here's Nsu. Decent layoff by Stuani. Not dealt with, Adoma. One of the more comfortable saves that Boris de Vries has had to make today.
And takes a whack for his tool, but a hugely positive start to the second half for Middlesbrough, clearly looking to get a third goal and try and put the game to bed.
Oh, Mendes, the flag has stayed down here. Real opportunity here. Mendes, saved by Konstantopoulos. 2 players to his right, though. Both Oliveira and Ward cannot believe that he didn't get his head up and pass.
Really surprising for Middlesbrough, caught short at the back, all over the place at the back, and does well Mendes to stay onside initially, but just roll this ball into the path of Oliveira. If he does that, it's a tap-in for the striker, too selfish.
Here's Lehigh to O'Grady. Ward. Back to Lehigh.
Ball breaks his way. It's difficult, stuck underneath his body. Just goes for power more than anything else. Keeper's position in Konstantopoulos, absolutely excellent. He's not going to get beaten from that angle with his position.
Nugent, good for the shoulders, left Hobbs in his wake. Still going, Nugent. Stuani, Wilson's challenge holds him up. Ledbetter, Downing, onto that trusty left and just over.
Well, when the ball breaks to Stuart Downing on this right-hand side, I'm thinking the net is going to bulge here with his quality, his ability to whip a ball, bend it into that top corner. This is where they're such a danger. Middlesbrough on the counter-attack, then they're patient. So it's a great first touch, opens the angle up. I'll tell you what, he's a whisker away from drilling that into the top corner and killing the game.
Clayton glances it only as far as Mendes. Super stop down low from Konstantopoulos.
Oh, that is a good save. I think if Ryan Mendes strikes this cleanly, the keeper has no chance of stopping it.
Lansbury, O'Grady. Appeals for handball off Gibson. The assistant flags, and the penalty's given.
Clearly handballs, a great spot by the officials.
So the captain steps up for Forest, and the captain is denied by Konstantopoulos. Most probably a match-winning moment from Dimi Konstantopoulos.
Henry Lansbury, with his ability, should be whipping that ball to a corner and scoring. This is really a penalty that's just full of lack of confidence more than anything else, and keeper gets his bit of luck.
You know, being a former Leicester player, you know, it's always nice to score here. Scored a couple of times, and you know, it just would have been nice, you know, to go on and win the game a lot more easier. But you know, they come into the game again, they got the equaliser, but you know, we got the winner, and you know, this man, you know, saved the penalty last minute.
We saw Daniel Ayala have words with you just before the penalty. What was he saying to you?
He said to me, stand up, don't dive, because he's put it in the middle. To be fair, he guessed it right. Luckily, my legs were there.
Another terrific victory for Middlesbrough, another goal as well for David Nugent. A double celebration, as we saw there for Danny Ayala. We saw the rocking the cradle celebration, and this is why we learned this via social media this week. A couple of tweets. This first one was pre-match. There we go. Go on, Daddy. Come on, Borough. Looking forward to the first match. That's his fiancée, Hannah, and we learned that, well, it was quite a memorable one as well. Special week, goal and win makes being up all night to let Daniel sleep worth it. Very much indeed. That very nice from Hannah on social media. A couple of things, Adam.
Yeah.
The penalty could have been different had Henry Lansbury put that away. We're going to see two penalties here. This one and the one he took last week. What's the psychology here?
Well, I think it's always difficult for Henry this time because against QPR he needed to score because they were behind in the game.
Exactly the same penalty.
Exactly. I think when you need to score as a penalty taker, you always have a spot on the goal that you know where you're going to go. And the way that he runs up to it quite straight. And it's interesting, if you stay strong as a keeper and you stand up as long as possible, it's always a lot harder. But I think sometimes you've got to try and put a whip on it as well. But the way that he strikes it, you just hope the keeper goes the wrong way. Like he did at QPR, he went the wrong way and scored. And like today, keeper went the right way.
Did he do his homework, though, did he, from last week?
I think so, yeah, because I think it's a lot harder now for penalty takers because of the research that goalkeepers do against them. But I'm sure he'll bounce back for the next one.
A few more penalties, by the way, to see later on in the programme. Much more still to come tonight. All the goals from Leagues 1 and 2 later. And then straight after the break, we'll catch up with the league leaders, Brighton.
In a moment, we'll catch up with the leaders, Brighton.
First, though, the Friday night match. Ipswich Town fans will argue they're going to be right in the promotion race as well. They faced another potential challenger in Birmingham City. Your commentators here, David Prutton and Daniel Mann.
That's a good steal by Maitland-Niles, but well, Cotterill thought he'd atone. Toure arriving at great speed. That's going to be a booking for Cotterill.
Slippy, he does overrun it, he does go down. I think at the end he just pulls his foot back. Obviously there's an impact with Toure.
Did not make for pleasant viewing. Here's Shinnie. Oh, nicely through, and an opportunity here for Grounds.
And some real work for Gherkin to do. Mick with a note or two to make. Oh, and Berra's slip could be costly. Cottrell could be in here for Birmingham. And he takes full advantage. David Cottrell strikes his second of the season. And Christophe Berra cursing the most costly of slips.
Look at Berra, and he's got a situation that's in complete control of here, but the slip lets him in, allowing Sheeny to roll it into a perfect position for Cottrell to hit first time.
A grim-faced Mick McCarthy. Smith stooping and conquering. That was Maitland-Niles buzzing around, and again. This is one way of finding the spark. He might yet keep it alive. Oh, he's given a penalty.
Gone a very, very long way, Maitland-Niles. The ball's away. No doubt Spector catches him. Nobody appealed for it. The fans didn't call for it. Nobody was jumping around in the air. Everyone turned round expecting it just to be in the goal. His hands are played out again. Referee points to the spot to the bemusement of all.
Kuszczak did save a penalty on opening day against Reading dramatically right at the last. He puts it away. It is Brett Pitman's first goal at Portman Road for Ipswich, and they are level, but not without controversy. Douglas, very nice. Maitland-Niles, Pitman. Oh, beautifully done. And it might yet break for Sears. Is the pressure going to pay for Ipswich? It's Murphy! And you know what you expect when he arrives in that kind of position.
It's a wonderful chance. Glaring miss, that.
So Ipswich with loads of chances towards the end of that game, but they closed the gap on Brighton by just a point. And the Brighton boss, Chris Hughton, says that even he couldn't have envisaged their terrific start to the season. It's 6 wins and 1 draw so far, which is their best start since 1957. Today, they were 5 points clear at the top of the table. Here's Paul Walker on their trip to Wolves.
Oh, it's been given away by Iorfa to Loa. Kayal looking to dribble out of a tight spot, and Cody straight in the thick of things again. Lafondra. Fobe might get to this. It's turned into a really good ball. Pull back here to Henry, out of his feet, and sends it curling over the bar. Turned into a really good pass from Lafondra. And Fobe pulls it back for Henry, one touch, and then a strike at goal, but always rising. Stevens, he's got runners to his right and to his left, and Jamie Murphy ahead of him. He's pushed into Jamie Murphy, there's no flag, there is a collision now, and it will be a penalty. Scott Goldborn cutting off Jamie Murphy inside the box. It's a terrific ball through. There can be no complaints there, can there? The ball had gone, and Goldborn stops Jamie Murphy from getting anywhere near that. Hamed against Martinez. It's Hamed, it's Paul. He'll get there at the second attempt, and Martinez is the hero. Second time in a row as well. A massive roar around Molineux. But it's a very tame penalty from Thomas Hamed. Played away by Horse. And it's touched on here towards Hamed. Thomas Hamed straight at Martinez. Is it going to be one of those afternoons for Brighton's leading marksman? Henry up against Bong. Nicely done, finding Iorfa. Over the top, Iorfa looking to get beyond Loa. There was a tug of the shirt. Mark Kieran, eagle-eyed on that one. Just watch here, Loa, just there, you can see it. And it's the right call from the officials. James Henry to send this one in. It's deep. Landell was up there. Lafondra stopped on the line by Hemed. And now Edwards. Afobe trying to keep it alive. Henry lifted back in, and Ebanks Landell sends it over the top. In fact, it was Courtney Horse who sent it looping over the bar, but Thomas Hemed, who missed at one end, stops a goal at the other. Right on the line to deny Adam Lafondra. This is Bruno, who's got a lot of space to run into here. Rosinia out on the right, that's where it's gone. Here's the Spaniard again. Bruno digs it over the top. Rosinia, nice first touch, pulling it back, and Martinez with a big long arm to claw it away from the blue and white shirts that were in there. Rosinia and Bruno combining, and Martinez managed to push that one away. Murphy away from Goulbourne, but not away from Edwards. Rosinia goes in firmly with a challenge, and Cody is shown straight red. Jeremy Simpson straight for his top pocket. Oh dear, it was high, and that was reckless from Connor Cody. Missed the ball completely, and Connor Cody is dismissed for Wolves. This is Kayal. Still Berham Kayal, he'll drive one, and Martinez well positioned. Kayal spinning in from that left-hand side. And Martinez well placed to make that save. Rosinia. This is Jamie Murphy. Shifted wide to Loa. Looking to get beyond Iorfa. Pulls it across, and Martinez is there again. Every time it goes in there, Wolves as goalkeeper seems to be in the way of it. Loa pulls it across goal, and Martinez is able to stretch and get hands to it. Berham Kayal pulled in towards Rosinia, and a chance here for Manu straight at Martinez. Manu couldn't make it count when it ran loose.
They've got a lot of quality in their side, and they'll do very well, I'm sure. So it's a very good point for us. And after the red card, you know, heroic display, and proud of the players.
It's been a tough period for us. Wolves didn't have a midweek game, and there were little periods, perhaps of that first half, where they looked just a little bit fresher than what we did. But of course, we had opportunities.
So no goals, but two big talking points to discuss with Adam Virgo, who played over 150 times for Brighton and took a few penalties for them, which I find remarkable, but there you go. We'll see the red card in a moment.
Yeah.
But a penalty miss, another penalty miss for you to look at from a guy who's been scoring every game. This would have been his fourth game in a row he scored. What happened here?
Well, he's been very prolific, but I think he just hesitates just before he kicks it. Martinez, the keeper, he stands as long as possible, and that puts doubts into his mind before he takes it.
This is the red card, straight red for Connor Cody. We had a bit of an argument about this. I thought definite red. What do you think?
Well, you just see, when you're going with your studs showing and you mistime the challenge and he gets him on his ankle... 10 years ago, that was never a red card. Unfortunately, in today's game, referees are quick to hand out red cards like that. But I can see why the referee has given a red card.
There speaks a defender who was in his bomb 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Regardless of that result, Brighton on a really good run of form, as we can see from this. Look at that. Win-win. OK, a draw at Huddersfield. Then 4 wins on the spin coming into today.
No, I say people are saying that last season I saw a lot of them play, and it's the results against Rotherham where they're picking up draws and they're being outplayed by them. Blackburn, Hull was second in the table when they came to the Amex and they won. They went away to Ipswich, so they've dug in, and you see in there they're getting the respect now from the Championship, and they're getting confidence, and the signings that they've made have made a big difference.
And their best league start since before I was born, in fact. 2 more clubs with realistic... What are you laughing at? With realistic promotion aspirations next. Hull City hosted QPR, having won almost as many home games already as they did, well, in the whole of last season, Adam.
Yeah, they did, and it wasn't a great game, really, in the spectacle of thinking that two sides had just been relegated from the Premier League, and it's Charlie Austin who, they were desperate to keep him for the season, and it's a poor goal to give away. From a set play, you don't want to be conceding like that, and Curtis Davis, great defender, doesn't really jump with him, and it's an easy header, and I'm sure Steve Bruce will be very, very disappointed with that. As well as it's hit, it's a great ball in by Huddleston, and now it's Dawson's against Anua. Again, somebody's a centre-half like Anua, great in the air. He's just been out-muscled by the opposite defender there. But I think over the course of the game today, I think a draw was a fair result. But I think both managers will look at the way that they've conceded the goals today, that they'll be disappointed.
Would QPR take that? In the Premier League, Hull won both of these games last year.
They did, and I've noticed that Hull now are playing 3-5-2, so they've changed that, trying to bring three centre-halves in. But I think Chris Ramsey will be delighted with the point, because away from home, they've really been poor. Only one clean sheet in 8, where Hull have been really, really strong defensively. So I think he'll be happy with the two managers.
Kelly.
Yeah, we've still got 7 games to go from the Sky Bet Championship. We'll have all the goals from them in just a moment. Hello, welcome back to Football League tonight. We've got slight change of plan now, because we were going to welcome last season's Sky Bet League One Player of the Year, Joe Garner of Preston. However, Preston have got to go straight back home for extra Sunday training after their game at Brentford. Here's why.
Goals have proved hard to come by for Preston since promotion, so what a boost this was in West London, where despite kicking off, Brentford quickly conceded possession and Simon Grayson's men were straight on the offensive. Owen Doyle in the clear with a cross that caused havoc. Daniel Johnson ready and waiting. Just 33 seconds gone, and immediate reward for Preston's adventurous attacking lineup. Soon Johnson was creating more danger, his free kick tailor-made for Stevie May. So near and yet so far, which has been the story for Joe Garner this season. Going into the game, no Championship player had tried as many efforts on goal without scoring. Last season's leading marksman in League One would only suffer more frustration, thanks to David Button. And just past the hour mark, Preston began to count the cost of their missed opportunities. Tamani Diagaraga releasing Sergi Canos. And Lasavib displayed his handy knack for being in the right place at the right time. His third goal in 4 matches, and Vib was determined it would count for something. His first couple of goals for the club did nothing to stave off defeat, but this time around the Dane was the catalyst for a stirring comeback. Jake Bidwell's flick and a tidy turn from Marco Juricin left Preston's defence lagging, and in the space of 3 minutes the Bees had secured their first win in 5.
So, Adam, a welcome bit of breathing space for Brentford. We'll see in a moment where they are in the table, but Preston are struggling to adapt to life in the Championship, certainly as far as results are concerned.
Yeah, they are, and it's the same with Bristol City and MK Dons. The standards when you go up into the Championship from League One's a big difference. But for Simon Grayson, it's the lack of goals. They've lost Jermaine Beckford, who was a massive part of why they got promoted last season. He's brought in Doyle from Cardiff, and he's also brought in Stevie May from Sheffield Wednesday. So hopefully that'll make a difference to try and score goals. Defensively, they've been pretty strong, but in front of goal, they've been poor.
And for Joe Garner, he's getting the shots in.
Yeah.
He's just not getting any goals. Is that, what, bad finishing or bad luck?
I just think it's a bit of everything, really. I think it's unlucky in a way that in League One they were going in the back of the net, and just sometimes you just don't quite get that lucky break. But as a centre forwards, you'll be thinking at least he's getting those chances, and that's what you want from your forwards, and I'm sure it'll change for him.
Yeah, so Brentford up a little bit for Preston. George, very much at the wrong end of the table.
Yeah, speaking to a couple of Preston fans this week, they said they would take survival in the league right now. We'll see. More goals now from the wrong end of the Championship. The bottom 3 sides all desperate to pick up points at home. We start at Rotherham, where superfan John Norris was watching. He hasn't missed a competitive game since 1996 and had been honoured at Brighton earlier this week for a remarkable 1,000 consecutive games. Would he see them win in his 1,001st?
It's rare luck seems to run in your favour when you're scrapping for points in the bottom 3. But for once, Rotherham could have no complaints, as Matt Derbyshire pirouette with David Marshall prompted such a petulant response from Cardiff's keeper that Russell Slade's men would be a man light for 50 minutes of the match. Simon Moore came off the bench to face the penalty. but couldn't prevent Vadis Ajija from netting his first goal in English football. Not all good news for the Belgian on loan from Norwich. At the other end, he appeared to be the offender as the Millers blew their lead almost immediately. When Fabio tumbled in the box, Ajija's teammate Farrand Rawson took the blame with a yellow card, much to his surprise. And Peter Whittingham carried the teams to the break level. Slade had no complaints about his goalkeeper's sending off, but it had left Cardiff with a lot to do off the back of Tuesday's first defeat of the season at home to Hull. The question was, could Rotherham find a cutting edge against 10 men? When Joe Newell's cross was put well wide by Johnson Clark-Harris, it looked as if the answer might well be no. Steve Evans' team knew, though, that they rarely have a better chance to finally clinch their first 3 points of the season, and as the match moved into time added on, seized their opportunity. Nothing too special about Chris Maguire's centre, but under pressure, Cardiff crumbled. Matthew Connolly sliding the ball into his own net. A turn of events which has put Rotherham right back in touch with the rest at the bottom.
After a promising start to the season, Charlton seemed to have hit the skids. It was a similar story at Ewood Park. Tony Watt twice had early opportunities against winless Blackburn, but couldn't find the finish. Instead, Blackburn sneaked ahead in first-half stoppage time. Jordan Rhodes with the type of predatory finishing that's become his trademark. It's worth noting that Rovers' slow start to the season coincided with a niggling ankle injury for their talismanic striker. But now Rhodes is fully fit, and the goals are starting to flow once again. His fourth in 3 games ensured that Blackburn would record their first win in any competition this season. That match-clinching goal had been assisted by substitute Tom Lawrence. On loan from Leicester, the 21-year-old had an impressive home debut. Having created Rovers' second with his first touches, Lawrence then added a spectacular goal of his own. One to keep your eye on this lad. Likewise Blackburn, who climb out of the bottom 3.
Blackburn's resounding success was bad news for Bristol City, who slipped deeper into the mire by falling irretrievably behind against Reading in the space of the first 13 minutes. Nick Blackman blasting the Royals in front via a deflection which took the shine off Liam Moore's home debut. City, convinced Blackman should have been flagged offside in the build-up, were still fuming over that when the Royals caught them out again. Gareth McCleary decided to go it alone from distance and doubled the trouble. While Reading had given Steve Clarke the ideal response to Tuesday's setback against Derby, their first defeat since the opening day, City had now conceded 10 goals in their 4 home games since rising from League One as champions. And after the break, Kieran Agard found the path to a potential comeback blocked. It was a rare side of goal for the strugglers, who went closest to giving Ashton Gate something to cheer when it was almost certainly too late to make any difference to the outcome. Joe Bryan's ball in from the wing found Agard closer to goal this time, and Jonathan Koja's point-blank effort somehow ricocheted onto the post. While Bristol City is struggling to come to terms with the Championship, Reading are building ahead of steam. That's 3 wins in 4.
Another week, another series of raised eyebrows at Leeds United. Executive Director Adam Pearson quit the club this week after just 4 months in charge, following Leeds' unbeaten start, which came to an end on Tuesday. The draw specialist fired a blank in midweek as Ipswich responded to their humiliation at Reading last week with this. First win at Elland Road in 10 years, Tommy Smith heading the only goal. For Leeds, the start of the season could be described as, well, mediocre, I guess, but certainly not disastrous. The numbers, well, they're not particularly impressive. But the upshot was Pearson heading home. Boss Uwe Rosler devastated, he said, to learn Pearson wanted to spend more time in Hull rather than Leeds. Another eyebrow raiser itself, perhaps. Or maybe unfair. Anyway, to fully focus on his ownership of rugby league team Hull FC. Adam, they played at MK Dons today, Leeds. How did they respond?
Well, I thought they did well today, and MK Dons have struggled at home since they've been promoted into League One. And this man was pivotal today of why Leeds won, Charlie Taylor. And the foul comes in from Carl Barker, and it certainly was a penalty. No arguments there. And Chris Wood, who's really coming to form this season, finally see a penalty scored.
4 in 6, that for Wood as well. He's proving a really decent signing for Leeds, very useful.
Yeah, disappointing against Ipswich during the week. And this is, again, I think this is a difference. I think what MK Dons have learnt from coming in to into the Championship. No one's there to really close him down. I think Carruthers could have got across quicker once he realised that Charlie Taylor was making that run, and that's a Championship finish. In League One, you probably would get a bit more time to get across. But it was a good response from Carl Robinson's side. And Josh Murphy here, one-on-one with Watton, goes down the line brilliantly. And Simon Churchill, I think it's going to be an important signing for them this season, gets the goal. And again, we've got another talking point in today's game with the tackle that's coming up.
Yeah, this 12 minutes from the end. Carruthers with the red. Oh dear. You cannot defend that, surely.
Well, I listened to Carl Robinson's post-match interview, and he cannot believe that that's a red card. And for me, you've got to be so careful. I know I've just said it before, but you've got to be so careful. The ball's been played away. It's late. It's reckless.
If it's not a red card, what's he doing?
I don't really know, to be honest. It's certain red cards, and it really, really was a disappointing end to the game. But you've got to realise that they scored 101 goals last season, and they've lost 46 goals in Dele Alli, Will Griggs and Afobe. They've lost 46 goals there, so it's always going to be difficult to try and replace that. And as I say, the quality of going into the Championship is going to be a little bit harder. But he's a good manager, he's a young manager, and he's still got a good squad of players. And it's going to be a tough season for them, but I still see them staying up.
OK, well, two more Yorkshire sides to look at now, both at home. Sheffield Wednesday against Fulham and Huddersfield versus Bolton.
At Huddersfield, Bolton's prospects of a second win of the season looked good when Liam Feeney fired a third-minute opener. But the Trotters were up against a Huddersfield side who were coming together as a team. Emir Hughes was on target as they won at Charlton in midweek, and the midfielder was on hand to level matters here on the stroke of half-time. Before that Charlton game, Huddersfield stayed down south for a few days of team bonding. Emil Eaton in the shadow of Windsor Castle seems to have done the trick for the Terriers. Mustafa Carriol's goal propelled them toward back-to-back wins. Hughes was the star man, though, on loan from Wigan and offering the creative streak once provided by Jacob Butterfield. His third goal in 2 starts suggests he could be Town's key man moving forward. Bolton had been unbeaten in 4, but in Neil Lennon's words, capitulated in this one. Laurie Wilson was caught in possession for Huddersfield's 4th, gleefully dispatched by Joe Lynch. And Bolton's bad day was to get even worse. Derek Osede sent off late on. Once of Real Madrid, Trotters fans were hoping that Derek might be the new Ivan Campo. Not on this evidence. It looks like they might share a hairdresser, though.
Sheffield Wednesday may have been winless since the opening day, but Carlos Cavallal was convinced they're moving in the right direction. It took Andy Lonergan's fabulous stop from Barry Bannon to prevent them taking the lead at home to Fulham. But he couldn't keep the Londoners at bay single-handed, exposed again as Fernando Forestieri marked his home debut with the opener. Having just won 3 in a row in League and Cup, a feisty Fulham response was to be expected, though Jamie O'Hara's equaliser wasn't exactly fierce. Wednesday, though, had already discovered their opponent's Achilles heel, set pieces. Tom Lees had them back in front by half-time. And shortly after the break, Ross Wallace completed his hat-trick of assists. Norwich loanee Michael Turner on the end of a Scotsman's free kick against the club that borrowed him at the back end of last season. Fulham weren't finished yet. Fresh hope provided midway through the second half as O'Hara picked out Tom Kearney. And with the match well into stoppage time, the young midfielder played in Dan Burn. But Wednesday just about held out.
Yeah, entertaining if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan at the moment. This is what it all means to the table. Brighton stay top following their goalless draw against Wolves. Middlesbrough's 4th win in a row means they close the gap on the leaders to 3 points. Hull move up to 3rd on 14 points along with Burnley and Ipswich, although Burnley don't play until Monday night. More on that in a second. Reading's win at Bristol City sees them complete the top 6. At the other end of the table, well, Rotherham stay bottom but did at least register their first win of the season against Cardiff. They join Bristol City on 5 points and are a point behind Preston, who are struggling. Losses for Bolton and MK Dons see them slide towards the bottom 3. Blackburn Rovers were another team to get their first win of the campaign today, and they move up to 19th.
Adam, let's talk about the Monday night game. It's Derby against Burnley. Derby favourites for this, despite the fact that Burnley go into it on better form.
Well, that's championship betting for you, Kelly. That's the way it goes. But Paul Clement, the last 2 games, they've got good victories. And yeah, I think he's made a key signing in Bradley Johnson from Norwich, who he lost Will Hughes earlier in the season to a really bad injury. So I think that player in midfield, he's now replaced. But they're going against a good side in Burnley at the moment, going very, very strong. A lot of that squad got them promoted into the Premier League, and there's still a good nucleus of players there. He's added into Andre Gray up front, and of course he's now added Joey Barton to the mix.
So is the expectation then, because Derby are favourites for this game, is the expectation that they're going to improve, whereas Burnley might fall away a little bit?
I mean, this is championship football. The unpredictability of all of it always happens all the time, so you can never say anything. All you know is going to be a physical game, because that's the way Burnley play. They like to defend from the front, the way that they do defend. And I think Derby is still trying to find their play under Paul Clement. I think they're trying to pass and move, but sometimes just takes a little bit of time, slightly different to the way that they played under Steve McLaren. But it's going to be an excellent game. And
if it's going to be a physical game, do we see Joey Barton or not?
I think we will do. I don't think he'll start, but I'm certainly sure we'll see some part of the game him coming on.
Yeah, Sean Dyche has been talking about him this week. He said he's about 3 weeks into his pre-season, but normally that takes 5 weeks. He said we might cut it short a little bit for Joey there. We could see him in action for the first time for Burnley.
Let's hope so.
Now it's your chance to enter our competition. Here's your chance to win a 42-inch LG HD TV, a Samsung S6 Galaxy Edge and a Sony PS4 with FIFA 16 as soon as possible after launch. All courtesy of Breathe Sport. All you have to do is tell us which club this crest belongs to. Is it A, Brighton and Hove Albion, B, Morecambe or C, Blackpool? For your chance to win, text club and A, B or C to 65515. Or post your answer, name and phone number to Club PO Box 7557 Derby DE1 0NP. Entrance must be 18 or over, text costs £1.50 plus 1 message at standard network rate. Lines close at midday on the date shown on screen and 3 days later for postal entries. For rules, go to channel5.com/win.
OK, let's have a look at League One next. All but 2 of the teams are in action today. Bradford take on Sheffield United tomorrow. We'll start with 4 matches, each featuring one of the top 6 at the start of the day.
Gillingham arrived in Essex on top of the table and on top of their game. Unbeaten in the league and unstoppable it would seem, the only cloud on their horizon has been a lack of ruthless finishing in front of goal, underlined by Cody McDonald's generosity. But Colchester were also fairly quick out of the blocks, especially Callum Harriott, who made all the hard yards to give Gavin Massey the relatively easy finish after just 4 minutes. That lead, though, was destined only to last 3 minutes. McDonald atoning for his miss with the assist, which allowed Luke Norris to show exactly why he's been the Gills' go-to striker this season. The home side, though, responded with an impression of the kind of football more common at Real Madrid. Matthew Briggs and George Moncur combining to tee up Harriott's first goal since December, which was definitely worth the wait. But the visitors will be kicking themselves about the chances that got away. They had a golden opportunity to clinch a draw when Frankie Kent was penalised for a handball. That gave McDonald another sight of goal from the penalty spot, but Jamie Jones won that particular game of poker, and as a result, Colchester won the match, their second victory of the week.
To get our first home win of the season here today has just given us a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in what we have been doing. I thought we were unfortunate not to have won earlier in the season, but it was a good game out there today. It's a real competitive game against a strong Gillingham team. You can see why they're top of the league. But it was a fantastic win for us.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's side are having no trouble adjusting to life in League One. Burton fans must be starting to worry their manager will catch the eye of another club, but for now they're enjoying the ride. Stuart Bevan scored Burton's first ever goal at this level on opening day, and now he has 4 to his name after taking advantage when Mark Duffy's free kick wasn't cleared. Swindon boss Mark Cooper has admitted his side didn't do enough in this game. When they created chances, they didn't take them. Burton moved to the top of League One.
Coventry's blistering start to the season may have cooled a little, but in Adam Armstrong they have a player who always looks likely. The striker on loan from Newcastle had scored 5 before this match, and that could have been 6. With Steve McLaren's men struggling for goals, Newcastle fans might be wondering if and perhaps when Armstrong might get a chance to shine at St James's Park, because there's no doubt he's lighting up the Ricoh Arena. Chesterfield's efforts to get back on level terms took a desperate twist when Emmanuel Diaz-Saruva tried to punch the ball into the net. The referee spotted it, and a red card was to follow.
There were 4 former Scunthorpe players in Rochdale's starting 11, but it was the visitors who came closest to opening the scoring. Paddy Madden hitting the crossbar just after half-time. Rochdale took the warning, and just 6 minutes after coming on as a sub, Joe Bunny scored his first of the season with a fierce drive from the edge of the box. The lead didn't last. Gary McSheffrey's corner found Murray Wallace, who outjumped everyone to head in and level the game. Peter Vincenti is enjoying a decent scoring run with 2 in 3. He made it 3 in 4 with the slightest of touches to score the winner 5 minutes from time.
What a job Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is doing at Burton, and what an impact Adam Armstrong is having at Coventry City. He's loving life there. Just a quick word about our Capital One Cup Tonight show. That's this coming Wednesday at 11 o'clock. We're going to bring you highlights of all the games, including Liverpool-Carlisle, Man United-Ipswich, Spurs, Arsenal, and one of the more intriguing ties, I guess, Walsall against Chelsea. The whole place, Walsall, Adam, absolutely buzzing ahead of that. They were sitting second in League One at the start of the day, so they had to get this weekend out of the way first. They travelled to Peterborough this afternoon. Adam, you watched this one. How are they looking ahead of it?
Well, it's always a difficult game because Peterborough, after sacking Dave Robertson, have brought in Grant McCann, and now they're playing with a bit more confidence. And it's Kubalari here that somehow gets through this. They'll need to defend better than this when they come up against Chelsea. Never, ever gives it up. And he comes back to Zuma here. Great touch. And it's a great save from Nathan Evanson in the Walsall goal. But when you play the number 10 role, this is how you play it. Because he takes up a great position here, Sawyers. I think it's Forrester there. Just gets out just that little bit too late. And when he gets on the half-turn, it's a brilliant goal. And he's been one of Walsall's main players, along with Tom Bradshaw. 4
goals in 8 league games. He scored 4 in 42 last season. Now, this is a red card which we didn't see.
No. And from what we're hearing is that he's had a retaliation with somebody in the crowd. So that's
what we're told is he appeared to throw a drinks bottle into the crowd.
We can't do
Cameraman missed it, referee missed it, he was told, and then the red card, and then this 3 minutes from here.
Well, this is what happens when somebody's come into the dressing room and brought a little bit more confidence into the sides. It's poor defending from Walsall all the way from the start. It's just one long ball over. Dimitri doesn't deal with it. And Bothwick there, the captain, smashes it down the middle. And I'm going to give credit to Grant McCann because he's coming under difficult circumstances. They haven't quite hit the ground running since they've been relegated from the Championship. I still personally think that sacking Darren Ferguson was the wrong choice last season. I still felt that he deserved a bit more of a chance, but the decision's been made. And now I think they need to go out and find an experienced manager. There's plenty of good managers out there.
OK, more to come in just a moment. Kelly.
Yeah, more, including the rest of the League One highlights after the break, as the 2 newest managers in the league go head-to-head.
Hello again, welcome back to Football League Tonight, live on Channel 5. Now, there were 2 new kids on the block at Doncaster today.
Yeah, David Dunn of Oldham made his debut as interim manager, while his opposite number for Doncaster, Rob Jones, was in charge for just the 2nd time. Jones isn't making any comment about going for the job full-time. Dunn, though, definitely wants the job on a permanent basis. Well, permanent-ish.
If there is such a thing, because if there's one job that's never permanent, it's manager of a football club. And here's another sobering thought. Less than half of all new managers ever go on to a second job. So welcome to the game, guys. So, which of the league's 2 newest managers got the upper hand?
Doncaster Rovers have taken the unusual step of advertising their manager's post on the club website. Caretaker boss Rob Jones is staking his claim for the job and made a good start as interim manager, with Andy Butler giving Donny the lead. Oldham's temporary boss David Dunn has been putting in 16-hour days in his new role. The hard work paid off with an equaliser from Jonathan Byrne. Rovers came within inches of going back into the lead. First, Cameron Stewart's effort was tipped onto the post. Then Oscar Gobern's header hit the still rattling frame of the goal. Former Donny boss Dave Penny was spotted at the keep moat, sparking rumours he could be interested in taking on the club again. He almost saw them snatch a winner through Danny and Gesson. But the two caretakers take a share of the points.
Until that phone rings and tells me otherwise, I'll continue to do what I've been asked to do because I love doing it.
I spoke to the owner and he's happy me just carrying on and doing what I do. Really enjoying it, and we'll be working really hard to try and get some really positive results. And I thought today was one of them.
Right, more goals from League One now, starting with Crewe, who were the only side in the division yet to win a match. They were at Shrewsbury.
Winless and bottom of the table, Crewe were desperate for a break, and they got it thanks to a comedy moment from Jermaine Granderson. He did recover, only to have a front row seat as Adam King racked up goal number 4 of an impressive season. Shrewsbury's home form is certainly a cause for concern. Despite the best efforts of Jordan Clark, this was their 4th successive defeat in front of their own fans, to leave them hovering above the relegation zone.
Blackpool's wait for a home win stretches all the way back to January. And just 8 minutes into this game, they were going to have to come from behind if they were to change that. Conor Hourihane scoring for Barnsley. Neil MacDonald rang the changes at half-time and it paid off. Substitute Jack Redshaw equalised to get Blackpool back into the game. And he almost won it in injury time, but was denied by a superb save from Nick Townsend. The wait for a home win continues. It's now 231 days and counting.
Millwall just can't win at home, and again they were in part masters of their own downfall. Sean Williams' header didn't find its intended target, but David Worrell's cross did. David Mooney, the man on the end of it. Southend have found the adjustment to life in League One a struggle this season. Their only win so far has come at Roots Hall, but they took a giant step towards a first win on their travels thanks to Adam Barrett's 2nd goal of the season. It might have got even better for the visitors had the referee penalised this Mark Beavers challenge on Joe Pigott. Millwall tried to make the most of their good fortune at one end, only to see Lady Luck desert them at the other. Steve Morrison forcing the best out of an inspired Daniel Bentley. And the Southend keeper was at it again to deny Williams and consign Millwall to an unwanted record. This the first time in their history they've lost their opening 4 home matches of the season.
Having won their last 3 in all competitions away from home, it was time to test the form at Gig Lane for Bury. Unfortunately for them, they found Jack Anick in form, denying Danny Mayer and Jacob Mellis within a matter of seconds. Anick couldn't hold out for the 90 minutes though, and Bury's winning run continued. Nathan Cameron heading in Chris Hussey's cross.
Wigan defender Juan Carlos Garcia was very much in everyone's thoughts at the DW Stadium as the club dedicated this match to his ongoing battle with leukemia. The Honduran international would have appreciated his side's opener, both the defending from Fleetwood and the emphatic finish from Jordan Flores on his first start for the club. The home side are unbeaten at home this season, and they look destined to collect another 3 points when Michael Jacobs walloped home his 2nd of the campaign and Wigan were cruising. But just as Gary Caldwell's side was soaring away with it, their wings were clipped by Tyler Hornby-Forbes, whose goal was the first to be conceded at home in the league this season. 2 defeats out of 3 on the road makes Fleetwood's away form uncertain, which is just what Chris Maxwell's footing proved to be as well. Nevertheless, the visitors might have taken a point back to the Lancashire coast. Stephen Jordan's shot was blocked by David Ball. He recovered, only to hit the post, which rather summed up their afternoon.
Right then, let's take a look at the table. Burton are in top spot. It's the highest league position in their history after their win against Swindon. Brewers 1 point clear Walsall in second place. Gillingham's loss at Colchester means that they fall into third. Wins for Coventry, for Rochdale and for Bury means that they complete the top 6. Wigan just outside the playoff places on goal difference. Off to the bottom, where Blackpool dropped to rock bottom following their draw with Barnsley. Crewe go above them because they got their first win of the season at Shrewsbury. Doncaster and Oldham are in the last 2 relegation spots after they drew with each other.
Right, we've seen all the goals from the Championship and from League One as well. We will get stuck into League Two when we return.
Here to take a look at first against fourth in League Two. Now, Leyton Orient started the day 2 points ahead of the visitors Wycombe. So how did they get on, Adam?
Well, it ended up being a draw, and these are 2 sides that will be contenders to go up automatically. And I think when Ian Hendon looks back at this, he'll be disappointed that the way that Jacobson had a lot of time to get across in. And Matt Bloomfield, ever present for Wycombe, 13th season, the captain, so he won't score an easier goal than that. And this is the reply now. It's great pressure, and this is Ollie Palmer as well. I saw a lot of him last season playing for Grimsby. Just been an absolute nuisance. And this is the man of the moment for them, Jay Simpson. Getting 6 goals now for the season, and he's been a revelation for Ian's side. They've still got good quality. I'm a big fan of Dean Cox. I played with him at Brighton, and he's been pivotal why they've done so well. Wycombe really, really strong away. Leyton Orient really, really strong at home. So that's why we got a draw.
Absolutely. Although the Wycombe fans in the audience think that they could have won this one.
Yeah, they're going to say that, aren't they?
But you think they're both going to be contenders coming the end of the season, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly. I think Portsmouth are going to be up there as well. But I think those 2 will be very, very strong contenders for this League Two title.
But as you say, for today, a draw between Leyton Orient and for Wycombe. How did that affect the other teams at the top, George?
Let's find out, Kelly. With Orient and Wycombe only managing that draw, both Plymouth and Portsmouth had the chance to go top if they could win their games today, and those matches feature in our first League Two roundup.
Before their loss at Leyton Orient a fortnight ago, Bristol Rovers had gone almost a year unbeaten on the road, but they'd lost their last 3 games without scoring, and that looked like continuing when Jake Jervis converted Greg Wild's cross with 5 minutes to go. Plymouth boss Derek Adams this week called Luke McCormick one of the best keepers in the league. But it was his challenge on Ellis Harrison which handed the visitors a 90th minute lifeline from the penalty spot. Harrison himself converted it to hand Rovers a share of the points.
A crowd of over 9,000 turned up to see this clash between a couple of League Two's most fancied sides. Liam Sercombe, back after suspension, fired Oxford ahead shortly after the half hour. For a while it looked as if Michael Appleton might inflict a first defeat of the season upon his old club. But Pompey restored parity in style. Stepped forward Adam McGurk with one of today's Goal of the Week contenders. There was to be no separating these 2, not even when Portsmouth were reduced to 10 men late on. Michael Doyle got his marching orders with 9 minutes to go. But it didn't prevent Pompey from holding on to their unbeaten record, the only one of its kind left in League Two.
With just 1 win in their last 9 away league games, Northampton's trip to inform Morecambe looked a tough one on paper, but they were in front just past the half hour. Lawson Diath with his first of the season. Morecambe had won their last 4 games, scoring 13 goals in the process, but just 3 minutes later they were undone again. David Buchanan, this time the man with the assist for Sam Hoskins to finish. 2 in 2 games for him. And when they fell 3-0 behind early in the second half, thoughts of a comeback evaporated. Joel Byram's free kick giving him a first of the season. Tom Barkhausen's header briefly reduced the arrears for Morecambe, but it was too little and far too late. And Northampton's 3-goal cushion was soon restored when Dominic Calvert-Lewin turned in the 4th. The 18-year-old's first ever in the Football League. The hosts were struggling to replicate the form which had made them the league's 2nd top scorers. Ryan Cresswell's late own goal was scant consolation and couldn't dampen the visitors' spirits as they joined Morecambe and 4 other sides, all tied on 13 points inside the top 10.
With only 4 goals conceded in 7 games and only 5 scored, Accrington were gaining the reputation as the misers of League Two. Not anymore. 2 goals in less than a minute by Josh Windus put them on the way to a big win over Exeter. The second he owed to Grecian's goalkeeper Bobby Olenik. Gifts don't come much more generous than this. Windus a willing recipient and notching his 4th goal of the season. 3 straight wins in League and Cup without conceding a single goal suggested that Exeter were on the up, but they were blown away by Stanley. Piero Mingoya's first of the season sealed the points. This weekend, John Coleman has been celebrating a year back in the Accrington job. Billy Key helped make it an anniversary worth remembering, scoring on his first start for a month. Job done in a little over an hour. Stanley relaxed after that. Exeter set about making the scoreline a touch more respectable. First, Tom Nichols pulled one back. But neither that nor Joel Grant's goal will wipe the smile off Stanley faces. This emphatic victory over promotion contenders will have Accrington wondering about their own chances.
York City were asking for trouble when backing off from the league's top scorers. They were duly punished when Alex Gilead took full advantage and played in Tom Miller to score his 3rd of the season. Gilead is on loan from Newcastle, and when his shot eventually found its way to Troy Archibald Henville, it was 2-0, and it seemed the 3 points would be heading back to Cumbria. That feeling intensified when York striker Vadaine Oliver received a red card early in the second half for an off-the-ball incident in the box. Although he seemed surprised, referee Nick Kinsella was adamant. Russ Wilcox's side then showed real resilience to battle back and salvage a point. 2 goals in 2 minutes sealed the comeback, Luke Summerfield earning the first himself. And then dispatching it coolly from the spot. And with a little over 15 minutes to go, Josh Carson converted Emile Sinclair's cross to send the home fans into raptures. Luton had managed home wins in 2 cup competitions so far this season, but were still looking for a first in the league. Craig McHale-Smith thought he'd set them on the way with this fabulous effort, only for that sinking feeling to kick in when it was ruled out for offside. Boss John Still's pre-match message was cut out the errors and stop conceding goals. His players responded with the first clean sheet and the game's decisive moment. McHale-Smith appended in the box by Ryan Tafazoli just before the hour. 1 goal in 33 appearances last season, the striker stepped up to make it 3 in 8 for this campaign and end Mansfield's 4-match unbeaten run.
First home win of the season for Luton Town. I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, they've had aren't they?
Yeah, I've got severe beard envy here as well, by the way. I've got to say that. They've had an iffy start to the season, though. Would you have expected more from Luton Town?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. I watched a lot of them when they actually won the National League, and John Still took on a very, very difficult job. And when you sign big players like Craig McHale-Smith, people automatically think that they should be doing better. He's finding a little bit of form, but it's defensively where I think they've been let themselves down a bit too much this season.
Notts County, Portsmouth, Bristol Rovers, 3 games where, guys, you've conceded in the 90th minute. Why are you conceding goals in the 90th minute? Is that a lack of concentration or what?
It's just one of these things. It's a last-minute thing. We just don't... We just fall asleep right at the end, and we just, for some reason, just fall asleep right at the last minute when it's crucial that you need to see it out to the end, and we just lack focus.
I can sense how much it frustrates you. How do you change that?
I don't think we need to. I think it's just a case of settling in. We've got, it's a marathon, not a sprint this season. We managed to keep a clean sheet at the end of the game in that sense today. But, sometimes players take time to bed in. We've taken a lot of new players in this year. And I think come the end of the season, we'll be up there.
Got to stop conceding in the 90th minute, though.
We have, and we did that today. So.
Well, there you go. First home win of the season for Luton. Kelly.
Yeah, and there's still a few more games to go in League Two, including a hair-raising 5 goals from Barnet.
Back to Football League tonight and the rest of the action from League Two now, starting right at the very bottom.
Yeah, Newport County, in the hands of former England international Terry Butcher, have an exceptionally young squad, and so far just the 1 point on the board. Today they went to Dagenham and Redbridge.
The feel-good factor currently being felt in Welsh football hasn't spread quite as far as Newport, but manager Terry Butcher is adamant that their improving performances will soon lead to wins. His young side, hampered further by injuries, had the better chances at Dagenham and Redbridge. Then John Lewis had the first of them before becoming another victim of the Exiles' injury jinx. His replacement, Zach Ansell, went close in the second half as goalkeeper Liam O'Brien was called into action for the Daggers. A draw in East London ended a sequence of 5 consecutive defeats for Newport, but they're stuck on just 2 points. Daggers' best chance didn't arrive until the 92nd minute. Joe Day denying Jamie Curitan and Daggers a first home win of the season.
Stevenage made the short trip to Barnet on a 4-match unbeaten run, but still searching for a first away win under Teddy Sheringham. And they made the perfect start. Stephen Schumacher's 10th-minute corner eventually converted by Fraser Franks. Barnet's Martin Allen was left with the tougher half-time team talk, but his words had an immediate effect as they equalised within 3 minutes of the restart. Bonds and Gala firing in just his second goal for the club. Allen's words on the touchline might have been even stronger, though, when they conceded again just 2 minutes later. Charlie Lee teeing up Tom Hitchcock as Stevenage briefly showed resilience. But ultimately, that wasn't enough. And they were undone by 2 very similar counter-attacks, launched by 2 very similar long balls from Curtis Weston. John Akinde was the grateful recipient of both. With 6 goals in his last 7 home league games, he's been Barnet's talisman at the Hive. And he also had a big hand in this comeback win, here setting up Aaron McLean for his first since moving from Bradford last month. And with the final 10 minutes approaching, Stevenage were undone again, as they in turn pushed for an equaliser. Weston picking out Akinde, who repeated the feat to supply substitute Michael Gash this time. Barnet hitting 3 goals for the first time this season to take all 3 points.
Yeovil were up against it at Crawley. Paul Sturrock had only 14 senior players at his disposal and couldn't even watch from the technical area due to a touchline ban. On the plus side, that did give him an even better view of Harry Cornick's match winner, a beauty from the 20-year-old, which secured the Glovers their first away win of the season. By contrast, Sonny Bradley's near miss confirmed a 4th home match without victory for Crawley. Worse still, they've now failed to score in 4 of their last 5 matches.
The Cherry Red Records Stadium hosted the first ever meeting between Wimbledon and Notts County. Coping with Wimbledon's Adebayo Akinfenwa was uppermost in defender Hayden Hollis's mind, but the Notts County centre-half did his best work at the other end of the field, heading in Graham Burke's free kick. That looked like being the winner until 2 goals in the final 5 minutes turned the game in Wimbledon's favour. Daniel Ballman converting George Frankham's cross at the far post to bring the home side level. Hollis joked he'd deal with Akinfenwa by bench pressing him, but the visiting defence had no answer to the man they call the Beast when he popped up to win the game in the 90th minute. Wimbledon into the top half, County just a point above the bottom 2.
After winning their opening 3 games of the season, Hartlepool then lost the next 4. Ronnie Moore admits they're not being clinical in front of goal, and after seeing Rakesh Bingham tame shot, he might well be looking to spend more time on finishing in training this week. Elliot Omazuzi made sure that the game remained goalless as he headed Scott Harrison's effort off the line. Pool's 4-match losing run comes to an end.
Here's the table then. Leyton Orient stay top of it after their draw against Wickham, a point clear of Plymouth and Portsmouth. Wickham themselves stay 4th. Oxford, Accrington and Morecambe complete the top 7. They're also joined on 13 points by Northampton, Exeter and Carlisle. At the wrong end of the table, Newport are now the only team in the Football League yet to record a win. They're bottom and 4 points adrift of the side they drew with today, Dagenham and Redbridge. Crawley are also on 6 points but have a game in hand, while wins for Barnet and Yeovil see them move up to 21st and 20th position respectively.
Adam, Leyton Orient going great guns at the top of League 2, but at the top of League 1, Burton have to be the story of the day, don't they?
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic. Since Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's gone in there, 65% win ratio. That certainly takes some beating, and when a manager goes into a club, sometimes it just clicks. And for Jimmy and the boys at the moment, they've got Bevan up front, who's playing phenomenally well. Good experience that he's got. And to go away to Swindon today and win 1-0, keep that clean sheet and keep that momentum going, they're certainly going to be hard to beat this year.
Can they keep that momentum going, though? Can they keep going?
Of course they can, providing that you get a bit of luck on injuries and you get a bit of luck on suspensions and you can keep the core of your squad fit and get them regularly playing on the Saturdays and Tuesdays. I don't see why not.
Heady times for Burton fans of the Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, higher than they've ever been in their entire history. It's just an extraordinary season for them, and it's not finished just yet. Remember as well, this week isn't finished as far as the football is concerned. We've got plenty of Capital One Cup action. Capital One Cup tonight is on Wednesday at 11 o'clock on Channel 5, but that's just about it on Football League tonight, where, George, at the end of the day...
Yes, Burton Albion, as we've been discussing, sit at the dizzy heights, top of Sky Bet League One.
In League Two, Josh Windass scores 2 in just a minute for Accrington. He's only the odd 168 goals behind Dean.
He'll get there, won't he? In the Sky Bet Championship, it was a case of 2 wasted penalties. Brighton missed at Wolves, but they stay top. Middlesbrough survived one at Forest to go marching on.
Yeah, they are now hot favourites for the title. They are loving every second of it. We're back next week, but for now, though, from George, Adam and me, good night.
Good night.